I know I can be.
Good. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Mental Health Awareness. We actually took a week off last week. We had a few different things going on. I actually have two fake front teeth, and so during lunch, I actually broke one of them out and had to go get them just had an emergency, had to go put them back in. So that was one of the reasons why we didn't come live to you guys last week. However, we appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. As always, I'm joined by Brian. Hello, Brian. He's running some technical things. Hello. How are you?
Good. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing really good.
Awesome. Let's do this.
Doing really good. Cool. So this week we're going to come at you with the normal format, as always. I'm going to go ahead and talk about my discussion post. We're going to talk back and forth as far as what that means, how it impacts our lives personally. And this week is going to be early school age and middle childhood through the lenses of counseling specializations. So I'm actually going to go ahead and read a little blurb here real quick that is the basis for what my discussion was. So here we go. Tracy, a 6-year-old student. Tracy is a 6-year-old student who is heavily influenced by the use of technology.
Technology, it's everywhere.
It is known that the family experienced some major stressors last year that resulted in Tracy's parents contemplating divorce. The pressure that he is receiving at home has caused him to withdraw from all activities at school, including recess and friends. He is disengaged from regular activities and sits alone when he is not required to participate in group activities. Since his parents are working long hours, he is under the care of his elderly grandmother, who also works part-time. When she's not available, he is with his teenage cousins. At home, he's engaged in non-stop video games to fill his idle time. He focuses on these games at dinner time and rarely goes outside to play independently or with his friends. So that's going to be the case basis for which I have the discussion for this week, you guys. So we're going to go ahead and jump into my actual discussion. Brian and I are going to talk about it, and we're going to go ahead and see what you guys think about it as well, too. So first, what we're going to do is I'm going to identify challenges for Tracy, okay? In the case of Tracy, the 6-year-old student, some challenges facing his development include his parents contemplating divorce, the long hours of work that both parents endure, being raised by his elderly grandmother who also works part-time, and the influence of the teenage cousins in regard to video games. Now, according to counseling individuals through the lifespan, quote, children in pre-adolescence adopt an internal working model of experiences with parents. Children are likely to view themselves as a product of how they have been cared for or neglected by their caregivers. Tracy seems to be lacking the care and concern he needs. Conducting an interview with the parents and grandmother will help deepen the understanding and provide specific factors for mending the caretaker/child relationship, ultimately identifying the stressors that his parents are putting on him. Since Tracy heavily relies on technology, the creativity of play among his peers and family is hindered. For example, make-believe is not explored from a foundational level. It's shown. In Tracy's case, creative adaptability can be an effective method of cultivating different behavior. According to counseling individuals through the lifespan, according to counseling young people, counselors' perspective on what works, an exploratory study, the use of creative approaches was not something that should be imposed. Offering, suggesting, or inviting young people to use different creative methods is suggested. Once identifying what method works, Tracy can feel more comfortable about opening up. So I've kind of given you like a really deep, comprehensive insight as far as the struggles that Tracy's going through. We already talked about his parents contemplating divorce last year.
That's tough.
It's tough. There's all these life stressors, and we talk about the SLEs, not to be mistaken with the ELEs, like the extinction level events. Thanks, Deep Impact. But the stress level events.
What a pull.
I thought about that one before I came over. Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
dude,
that was preconceived.
Okay,
no, I can't take credit for that
smooth.
one. No, I can't take credit for that one.
Jesus.
But the SLEs,
nice.
thank you. But the SLEs, for example, are stress level events. This would obviously categorize as a stress level
totally
event.
stress.
So what I discussed is that is there another way? Is there another avenue that Tracy can be creatively inspired that also brings him back to the foundation of his friends, the nucleus, the family, without disregarding school, without disregarding recess, and honestly just kind of getting away from technology for a little while. He's 6 years old. I mean, he's a baby. I mean, what were you doing with technology at 6 years old?
Oh, thanks for the subscription, Crazy for Geese.
Oh,
nice.
Good to see you. Yeah,
Been
absolutely.
a while.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, what did you have technological-wise, like, at 6 years old? Like, maybe a Nintendo? Maybe?
Yeah, I think I might have had an NES.
Okay.
No, probably. I think maybe I had. So my great grandmother had this thing. I actually can't remember what it was called. It was this little green thing, and it was a football game, and you could just run back and forth, and they were just dots. And you would just run the dot.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name of it.
The one that had the football would blink, and I used to play that. So I think technologically wise, yeah, I went from that into a Game Boy, into an NES, into a Game Gear, and so on and so forth.
Right.
But at 6, yeah, maybe a Game Boy potentially. I don't even know. And that was honestly probably the worst for me. I mean, the worst and best thing was the Game Boy was just attached to me, man. I love that thing.
Yeah.
Pokemon, just all the time. It was awesome.
Right.
So, but I played outside, you know.
Well, I did too, and that's the thing is that I wonder
know.
if that's now becoming a lost art as far as being able to like go outside, get yourself dirty, come back with dirty clothes, have your mom or dad be, you know, like, oh, you're so dirty, I'm gonna wash your clothes again.
Yeah, I mean, we were down at Tickle Creek just getting muddy.
Yeah, we were fishing for crawdads.
Yeah, we were building wiffle ball fields and stuff.
Oh
in the
my
back.
gosh,
Remember that?
That's right,
yeah,
exactly.
It was just crazy.
Exactly.
Jumping bikes over the dirt ramps. But so I think a major question here is, where does he live?
Demographic. Good call.
Right? Because if he's living inner city, dangerous neighborhood, maybe mom's saying it's better for him to be in here where I can keep an eye on him, or at least I just know he's safe, which actually would be better for Tracy because that's going to decrease his stress level events. Even though it might not be creatively expanding him, it's protecting him from trauma, which I think after what we've been talking about in the previous weeks, I think might be a better course of action for this child's development.
It might actually be more beneficial. Like we were talking about, grandmother is basically the caretaker. Mom and dad are around, but they're not around that much. They're working. They also contemplated the divorce last year, but then he's also influenced by his cousins.
Okay.
So he has
and they're often.
And they're there often. They're playing video games basically.
Okay.
And that's his play.
Okay.
And that's kind of like what I talked about before, where I'm saying like
get the guy a Wii Fit, man.
Right. It shouldn't be shown. It should be told in a regard. What did I even say here? Here it is. For example, make-believe is not explored from a foundational level, meaning he's not getting in there. He's not getting his knees dirty. He's not getting his elbows dirty. He's being shown it through the medium of video games.
Exactly, versus playing. Well, with the cousins there, why are they not? I mean, I'd be roughhousing, wrestling.
Yeah.
My cousins, we would wrestle all the time. It was a great time.
Right.
Maybe they live in a small apartment. Maybe they live in a very upscale apartment. Do they live in a very upscale apartment where there's lots of fine china and things, don't touch, don't get it dirty? Is he in that environment? He could be,
I don't know. They don't disclose that information, but
is this a mean girls situation where
True.
it's just like, I am not going to deal with that. This stuff is too clean.
What are you girls doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
What? No, your demographic is,
we don't know.
Is the biggest key factor here. So you nailed it.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is. It's the first thing that came to my mind, at least.
I 100% agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would be a potential other major key factor, though, that we might be missing?
I think it's a matter of him not being invested in something that he actually likes. Obviously, he likes video games.
Yeah.
So, obviously...
That's a great point.
So, 6 years old would be what? Like... the end of kindergarten, maybe going into first grade.
Yeah.
Okay, depending on where you fall with the September birthdays or whatever and whatnot. But I mean, he's really only had preschool if he's gone to preschool.
Soccer. He could have played soccer at
He
that
could
age.
have had extracurriculars. Yeah, exactly.
You know, like gymnastics. I think if he was invested in something like that, then he would come home and practice. Like I talked about, this ridiculous story on our last episode where I learned, and I was probably that close to that age, I learned how to dive into a swimming pool. And I came home and I wanted to show my sister, and so I dove off the top dog and got a concussion. Yeah. It was a terrible idea. But I had an experience, and I brought that experience home. Right. So Tracy must not be having outside experiences that he's bringing home and wants to perfect, and that he's thinking about. He's not thinking about these things. He's thinking about video games. Yeah. Because that's what he's being exposed to. That's what he's being allowed to be exposed to, I guess, at that age.
That's the shown.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's the shown. Point. Exactly. He needs to be shown something else that then takes capacity in his mind that he then is thinking about and wanting to be creative with and expand upon and say, maybe I shoot the ball this way instead of this way, right? And you spend all day outside like I did as a kid by myself shooting baskets on the basketball hoop because I was like, why won't it go in? And I'm watching on TV like these guys and like Kobe Bryant, rest your soul, is just hitting these absurd fadeaway shots and stuff. And I'm like, I'm standing here 3 feet from the hoop and I can't make it. Like, this is upsetting. What am I doing that is not working for me?
Not nose hat cookie jarring.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Thanks to your dad.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. But Tracy's not being exposed and isn't allowing creativity in that way.
Exactly. His creative spark has not been rekindled or lit. So lit.
All right, what else we got here?
All right, so
moving on from Tracy. So we're continuing with Tracy.
We're staying with Tracy.
We're on Tracy.
We're on Tracy, man.
Let's go, T.
All right. So this is middle childhood conflicts and transitions for Tracy.
Okay.
So Tracy's middle childhood conflicts can be identified in Erickson's stages of psychology development. I can't even talk today, guys. Sorry, it's been a long week. Let me start over. Tracy's middle childhood conflicts can be identified by Erickson's stages of psychosocial development, particularly industry versus inferiority. Industry involves around having a meaningful activity and the competence to perform a skill. Mm-hmm. Inferiority means the incapability of doing the action due to a failure or not recognizing one's own strengths. Tracy lacks the importance of having a meaningful activity, i.e. schoolwork, social interactions, and independent creativity, and finds comfort and care among his cousins playing video games. The lack of importance transitions into inferiority, where his strengths are not explored and talents are not utilized or strengthened. Therefore, a lack of social and emotional intelligence starts to surface. As a result, Tracy would rather disengage from social activities and isolate himself to find comfort. Providing logical and rewarding framework for Tracy is crucial when suggesting alternatives to his current state. Showing and explaining the benefits of collaborating in a group or spending some time outside can provide Tracy with a new way to play, resulting in a more well-rounded foundation and solidifying the importance of industry. We kind of like segue into this hard already.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if you spend time outside, if you're able to find some fun in something that, number one, you're not used to, and number two, that sparks your creativity, that's going to be the motivating factor behind, maybe I should really start doing something else besides sitting around with my cousins and playing video games the whole time.
Which is really fun.
We started a whole channel on playing video games.
It's fun. But it's fun.
I digress.
So he's digressed.
You want to go back there?
It just so it's industry and
versus inferiority.
Yeah. So it sounds like Tracy's not getting industry in his life, and therefore he's not having the ability to feel inferiority of the failure.
Correct.
And so is he saying that they're two separate things, or they are like kind of like a step-ladder process?
They're
like
a step-ladder process.
Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. Perfect. So he's not even getting step one, so he obviously can't get step two of inferiority.
Right.
Gotcha, okay.
Right. He's looking at people that run, but he can't crawl yet.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Which this is also intrinsic, motivation factor where some people, though, are going to watch Usain Bolt run and get motivated just by watching him run
Sure.
and go, I want to go run.
Sure.
Like, I want to be like that. I
Right.
want to do that. Like,
Right.
like I was talking about watching Kobe Bryant shoot baskets, watching, like some of my favorite basketball players. I'm like, wow, I want to do that. And so I went out and did that. I also was exposed to being able to play basketball. Is Tracy a kid? Yes.
6-year-old.
6 years old.
We do not know the demographic or location of where he is or his
Mhm.
surroundings as far as his environment, but we do know that he's 6.
He's 6, yeah.
Yeah.
So, let me, just in case you're not on, obviously you're on mics, but,
You can't hear us, can
know.
you?
yeah. But yeah, so I was exposed to it and got
Right.
to play basketball, which probably then turned more into me being interested in watching it, which then turned more into me wanting to perfect it based off of what I had seen. So maybe, I don't know what, maybe either could come first though, right? You could watch it and then say, I want to play it, or you could play it and then say, I want to watch it and get better.
Right.
Right?
I think motivation doesn't have to be at start or finish. It can be anywhere along the timeline where
Yeah.
you get inspired by that and motivated to do the next step.
So this is kind of wild though, because Tracy doesn't seem to be getting that motivation anywhere along the continuum.
No, and I think it goes back to not having a solidified or a central focused caretaker, because you have these 3 people in Tracy's life, right? You have mom, you have dad, you have grandma.
Yeah, but your grandfather drove you to every game on the planet.
Sure,
You know, like
grandma's working part-time,
grandma's working part-time.
so
Gee, Ma.
I don't know what the
Retire, woman. God, you put enough slave labor in over the years.
we have no idea what Tracy's
We have no
grandmother's
idea.
doing.
Yeah, we're just making this up.
We're speculating hilariously. But yeah, where is the caretaker role and motivation that Tracy sees with that caretaker role? Like, does he see grandma like wipe her brow after she gets done from work of the day and then comes home and then immediately starts cooking dinner and then immediately serves them food and then tucks them into bed? Like, that can be something. And Tracy's a little young to pick up on that because he's not fully developed yet. But he starts with that play complex again, where he might start mimicking some of those behaviors because he sees someone who he respects and who he cares about doing that.
Absolutely.
So I think it comes back to the caretaker. Not solely, but from a very nucleus standpoint.
I agree with you that it is on the caretaker.
Let's add a layer.
But you do see sometimes a parent that will blame the child.
Good
when,
point.
Right? When
Good point.
when they're like, man, I really, your child's a little overweight, whatever, which can be a natural thing that they just grow out of or whatever. But if the kid's just playing video games all the day, it probably has a lot to do with the fact that he's not getting the activity levels that he needs as a young man or a young woman. Right? And so you see that, and they just say, he's not interested. He doesn't want to do it. He's not motivated. They're pointing it on to the child, and not taking the responsibility of, you are the leader, though. You are the one that is supposed to break them out of their shell, or just be creative enough to find something that they agree to, and that they do find passion in, and they do want to explore.
Yeah.
And
okay, you don't like gymnastics? Perfect. Do you like being outside? Okay,
Totally.
great. Do you can enjoy building things? Great. Let's start getting you a tool set, and we'll actually get you outside building things.
Yeah, woodworking.
We have a dog, Tracy. Guess what? Dog needs a doghouse.
There we go. Build it, baby.
Yeah.
If you build it, creativity will come.
Woof, woof.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is happening actually right now with my family. My sister's, Maylee, my niece, my sister's child, she doesn't like that isolated spotlight that gymnastics brings, where she's on the floor and it's all about her and the judges are watching her. And she's
interesting.
And she's being spotlighted. And she decided she didn't want to do that. And they said, okay. And now she's going to try basketball, which Mike is super happy about, her
of course
dad.
He is.
But I think that's going to be a better place for her, because even when the spotlight's on her, there's still 4 other people on the floor that are part of her team that are right there with her, that the spotlight's on them as well.
Totally.
Maybe you get in that situation where end of the game got to shoot a free throw.
But
Probably
that's
pretty rare.
That's part of any team sport, like really.
And it's also a fraction of the time
Yes.
versus every single time in every single event
Yes.
with gymnastics.
Totally.
You know?
Totally. That's a good example with your niece.
Yeah.
Totally good example. Yeah, because like your sister and Mike recognize that, okay, she obviously is good at this and she can excel at this.
Mm-hmm.
Is this making her happy?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
No. She's
Yeah.
getting anxiety and she doesn't
need that.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
child. Come on.
Exactly.
Tracy. Jesus, you don't need that in your life.
All right. So an understanding of Tracy's personality development. Understanding Tracy's personality development can be expressed in... Oh, I just read that. Did I?
Moving on. I don't think so.
Oh, no. Okay. Understanding Tracy's personality development can be expressed in Erikson's psychosocial development theory. Tracy feels uncomfortable in the current inferiority state due to the lack of consistent caretaker support at home. However, addressing Tracy's socioeconomic status and the reliance of technology at a young age are crucial factors in his development. According to counseling individuals through the lifespan, quote, the use of technology can have several advantages, such as early introduction to educational skills,
Khan
spatial
Academy.
and logical skills, and problem-solving skills. I had to throw that one in there because we like technology.
Yeah.
However, in Tracy's case, this is not the outcome.
Oh, Jesus.
The use of video
Just
games and
games.
technology become a crutch for lack of interest in other areas. According to teaching ideas for generating critical and constructive insights into well-functioning multidisciplinary mental health teams, that's a mouthful.
Wow, what a sentence.
Quote, transformative learning transformative learning is an approach to education that is not just seeking insight, but is also action-oriented. The fear of Tracy's parents separating, compounded with the lack of stable caregiver, has led to these patterns of behavior. Finding solutions that Tracy understands and can apply on his own will result in positive industry foundation. So it's all coming full circle, guys. It's everything that we even mentioned up at the beginning. We good? Not really.
No, I was just checking to see if we could focus it more, but it's already pulled back as far as we
Screw
can.
it. Okay.
We need to set the camera back further in the future.
Always learning. So, like I was saying before, guys, before we had a little technology fun there,
Tech fun.
we've already kind of scratched the surface on this. We've talked about socioeconomic status. We talked about his environment. Where is he living? What part of the country is he in? Is he able to actually go outside without feeling like there's danger or imminent danger? Like, you got to take all of these things into consideration. Does his family make a lot of money, enough money to get by, or are they relatively poor? So you need to also take that into consideration as well, too. I think that with Tracy and the case of getting that spark or understanding that creativity can come from something super foundational. I'm talking like, what's the best thing that you can do in terms of making someone understand a new outlet? Well, they can draw it out. They can write words out that make them happy. Give them a different color of crayon every time something changes. Different things of inspiration can be implemented. You're throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall here, guys. You really are. And that's not a bad thing.
Which is what you should do with a child.
Exactly. And just like you were saying with Maylee, like once she realizes that she was not comfortable doing this, she had the emotional discipline to ask her mom and dad, hey, I don't feel comfortable doing this. Even though I'm really good at it, I don't like this.
She also didn't at 6 years old and had a horrible time, and she's 8 now and was able to verbalize it. So maybe Tracy's just not there.
Developmentally, probably.
Right? Maybe Tracy's sitting there going, I
don't know how to express this.
I don't know how to express this. I don't know how to say this. I haven't been given the space to tell my grandmother no. Maybe I have not been respected enough and had my no mean anything in the past, and so I'm not even going to say no because I already know that no means nothing to them. Right. They say, I don't like that, and they say, deal with it, you know?
Eat your peas.
Yeah, exactly. If your no doesn't mean anything and it's never respected, then maybe this child just feels like it doesn't matter at this point already. Right. You know? Like,
And
Who knows?
that's a sad place to be, you know?
Yeah, on the flip side of it, maybe he's very internally creative and is actually thinking more about the actual like computer science aspects of the video games and thinking about things like physics and
One can hope,
and
yeah.
you know the different mechanics that are occurring, and just isn't there's no way for them to express that because maybe they don't, you know, they obviously don't know how to use AutoCAD or something yet to be able
Sure.
to engineer, you know. So maybe it is creatively growing on the inside, and they just don't have the vernacular to express what they're trying, what's happening inside.
That's a really good point. Yeah, we're
You
gonna
can hope.
No, and that's a good way to kind of really approach it, and not even like give Tracy the benefit of the doubt, but like Brian was saying, like he might not be able to verbalize the things that are actually sparking inside of him, where it's like, oh, I understand when I move my cursor or when I move my camera right, I'm going to have this little bit of lag, and that's a physics-based thing. Now, I mean, obviously he's 6 years old, but he understands input, he understands motion, and he also understands depth.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm talking like specifically like first-person shooters, for example, but
yeah, if he's playing NBA 2K, he's understanding trajectory and arc and velocity and what does the turbo button do to my player to make him run faster?
Right.
You know, and when my player runs faster, how does his gait change? Because they take all those things into account nowadays in games, and there's actually a lot to be learned.
Oh yeah.
So.
No. Good points all around. All right, and finally, for today's little topic, we're going to talk about helping Tracy professionally. As a professional counselor, finding a solution for Tracy and the continued behavioral patterns he expresses are rooted in consistent positive action and reinforcement. Finding new ways to implement play becomes crucial, not only for his mental development, but his physical development as well. Having him discover the features and benefits of outdoor activities or collaborating in a group or school setting become key factors for success. If Tracy discovers positive feelings through different suggested preferences from a caretaker or counselor, then positive growth and the foundation of industry starts to become more well-rounded. The key word is trust. Once Tracy begins to trust his actions in something new, he can start to feel safe. Westergaard in 2013 states, quote, "The focus on offering a respectful and nurturing environment in which clients can feel secure is, perhaps, particularly important for young people, many of whom do not feel safe in their surroundings, as homes, classrooms, clubs, the streets can all pose threats." Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
That was great.
The threat of his parents separating, along with the inconsistent caretaker role, are threatening to the 6-year-old. Creating a trusting relationship between everyone and finding opportunities for the parents and grandmother to strengthen trust between them and Tracy are vital for his development.
What else is there to say?
Slam dunk.
Yeah. What else is there to say?
Right?
They nailed it.
Yeah. So
They nailed it.
that's my discussion, homie. I nailed it. Ha!
That was you?
Yeah, I wrote all this.
You wrote that?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's all of these.
Oh,
so
you
far.
wrote all that?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just wrote the first start, and you like finished. Ooh.
No. So for guys out there,
Really?
viewers out there as well too, as Brian's now learning,
I didn't
all the
know
discussions
that.
I read out loud, I have written.
He's written that. You nailed that.
Thanks, dog.
That's the slam dunk.
Thanks, dog. I think it's a good place to end for this as well too.
Dude.
We gotta go ahead and we gotta
That's some.
transition to some more stuff.
Wow, that's pro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Guys, we appreciate you being here. As always, thank you for joining Mental Health Awareness. We try to come at you every single Friday night. We upload to YouTube between Wednesday and Friday, so go check us out on Shy Guy. You can also go check us out on All of Us Studios, where you can go ahead and find Mental Health Awareness in the library. Until next time, stay safe.